words of the country. Okay.
Yeah, it really took me on just the whole journey, you know, about like just life, how we can use the situation that we're dealing right now with the pandemic, COVID-19, and use that to inspire us to be better people, be accountable and take ownership of things that we need to do.
Right.
Our expectations of what we expect this country to do for us
Right.
at this time.
Right.
And I think that is so important when we talk about what are we going to do now? Because if you're still waiting for that savior, or if you're still waiting for the same country that has enslaved our ancestors to really say, okay, we're going to do this.
But so your ancestors on their way to church because they had a bad gambling habit or a bad gambling night? And then you think they're going to come and save you?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely right.
I mean, she dropped some nuggets, honestly, even about the role of women, our role as women in our families, with our children, in the kitchen.
And Sumayyah, Paula, really, the way she spoke about it was in a way that you really could understand. A lot of times, we try to talk about things with Black women and how we need to be and how we should be and how, should we go back to our virtuous ways and stuff like that. And it's not, a lot of people aren't very receptive in hearing that.
No.
The way she brought it full circle, it's almost like we have no choice.
Right.
Like we have no choice. And we want to look at our future generations, which are the seeds we plant. It's like we have no choice but to really put in that hard work and do it just like our ancestors did.
Right. You know what I thought about, as I was upstairs putting some stuff on and whatever in the kitchen, and thinking about this conversation, that a lot of the repair work that we have to do is intergenerational. It's not even like, okay, so I'm going to fix everything right now. You know what I mean? It's what we put into our children, what they're going to put into their children, what's going to be put into their children. It's an intergenerational journey.
Yes.
Like we planting seeds that may not mature for 3 generations. But that's okay.
And that's the whole point, though. Like, even when people plant seeds, it's to come back. Some come back next year. Some, only come back for 1 year. Some continue to come back, But if we looked at things in that way, it would make such a difference.
Yep.
And it seems more doable, because when you try to conquer something and say, oh, I need to do this, and this, you're in that autopilot mode.
Right.
You're not taking the time to stop and really analyze what you're doing, understanding that the changes and the decisions that you make now are going to impact future generations, not just your child right now, not just you, future generations.
Future generations, right. And you know what occurred to me too? Yes, as Black people, we have, I would say, mortal enemies, right? There are people on this planet, and it's not all white people. We know better than that. There are people who appear Caucasian who don't have anything against us, right? But then there are people that do, that literally sit and plan how they're going to wipe us off the planet. You know what I mean? And they're intergenerational. I don't think those people just started that plan 6 months ago.
Right.
They planned that over years and years and generations of how they're going to wipe us off the planet. So in order to and we're not people who are going to sit and retaliate that. Like, that's, even when I think about that, even though I know it's real, I'm not going to sit and think about how to retaliate, how to wipe them off the planet. That's just not who we are as Black people.
Right.
I don't want to change who I am. So there has to be a different way that we're going to have to handle that, right? And that's got to be with, I think we have the ancestral wisdom. We just not using it. Many of us are not using it. I won't say all, because some of us are. But many of us aren't using it, and that's why we're getting wiped out. And even the fact that they're able to, like, even when you think about, like, I was reading something on organic gardening. The reason why, like, aphids can attack a plant is because it's weak.
Right.
It's not about, oh, go out and kill all aphids. That's not the way to think.
Yes.
You're not going to slay the devil. He was created by God, right?
Right.
He exists. He plays his role. And what's his role? I feel like it's to show you what's wrong with you.
And you have
If
to
you
have,
have a weakness and he's around, he's going to show you what that weakness is.
you can't sharpen anything without that. You have to know what the other side is, or
Exactly. So even that mortal enemy can be used for good if we do what we need to do. And we're thinking the way we need to think. It's not about, that's their problem if that's what they're living for.
right.
You know what I mean? But really, they can be used to show us exactly what we need to fix.
Yes.
And so, I was saying to my mom and sister and my husband and everything a little while ago, I said, you know what? Um, this journey is such a healing one.
It
Like
is.
this journey we're on. And I think the thing about healing is that it's holistic. So like she came to talk about homeschooling, and we did talk about homeschooling, but we talked about gardening, we talked about marriage and relationships, and
Family dynamics. I mean,
yeah,
she just,
it all factors in. There is no like reductionist approach, right? Well, I'm just gonna sit and I'm gonna put homeschool in this little box and just look at that without looking at all the factors
right,
that go into doing
right,
it successfully.
right,
All the factors that go into, like when she talked about her husband saying, he took when she was buying baby food, and he said, "We don't know who bottled that.
right,
We
right,
don't grow our food."
right.
And I'm like, and then when she said, if you can't grow food, then you can't parent. And I forgot the third thing she said.
She said so many things.
Yeah.
That was
But remember, we
powerful.
both was just like, wait a minute.
There was a couple times I'm like, okay, wait, can you say that again?
Yeah.
Like I had to just take a moment and really take in what she was saying, because my mind was just like a whirlwind. It really, really was. So
Yeah.
many jewels or seeds.
Yeah. I was like, wow, wow, And so this is definitely the conversations that need to be happening,
Yeah.
with our elders, right? And with people who have the wisdom, who've been thoughtful, because you could tell like she's lived a very intentional and a very thoughtful life.
Yes, and I think that's what allows it. That's what is going to allow people to become more receptive to it, because the way she introduced it and the way she was able to bring it full circle, it just was something that you was just kind of taking it bit by bit, piece by piece.
Mm-hmm.
It was building and building and building, and next thing you know, like even certain things that I may have thought were like, well, maybe, but the way she brought it back full circle was like, I get it.
Yep.
I get it. I understand. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yep. Yep. Paula Penn-Nabrit. She is an amazing human being.
She really is.
You know, I've just, and I've always been inspired by her. I should say I've been inspired by her for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
from earlier in my homeschooling and after reading her book. But,
I can't
you
wait
know,
to get the book.
yeah.
And we have to have her back, like
Oh, yeah.
on as a regular.
Yes.
It's
That's
just
what I was thinking. I'm like, that's not just one show. She's not
no,
just one show.
no.
She's a
But she
regular
touched on,
conversation.
yes, this was more than just seeds. It
Yeah.
was it was more than just homeschooling. It was it just felt like it felt like I needed that healing. You know,
Right.
I need more of that. Like, we
Yes.
need more of that.
Yes. Yes.
We need more of that because we're all interconnected and we're all going through the same thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Having those like those thoughts of wisdom that she just
The
dropped.
elders, yes.
Yeah.
And like she said, even, you know, some of us don't have those type of people around them to give them that type of insight or those type of jewels. And
Right.
so this is something that should be like shared and
Far.
more of these conversations so people can heal.
Right. Right. Like spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
She was the first time I heard anybody say, bring up the 23rd song and talk about thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So when you're talking about your child, it's a comfort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you're protecting them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole different connotation of the rod.
Yes.
And I'm just like,
Wow.
you know, a lot to think about.
Yes.
A
A
lot
lot.
to think about. And we definitely we definitely have it's a regular conversation with her because I feel blessed that she's here and willing to talk to us, you know. And now I was mad about the Harvard article
Mm-hmm.
on homeschooling. Now I'm not so mad. Like I said, like you think, okay, the devil, like these people are trying to come and get us.
Right. Right.
And really, if you respond the way you should respond, all they're doing is, what man intends for evil, God uses for good.
Right. Even when she started off with how she felt about letting controlling her emotions and making sure she's putting out that right type of energy.
Yes.
Even like just starting off, it was just
Just from the
had
beginning
me
to
thinking. I
the
was
end.
just like, wow, like we do have to conserve our energy and use it wisely when
Right.
we react to certain things that happen to us. It's just like I said, I don't know, it's like segments within segments within segments,
Yes.
endless conversations, a
Yep.
regular
Yep.
check.
Yes.
So it was great. It really, really was.
And it just goes to show that the first law of nature is self-preservation, right?
Yeah.
And in so doing, it's a holistic act. It's not just one thing. We cover in a whole broad spectrum of things, you know.
And it
And
always takes me back to what you had said to me. And I said this to you before when you said, my black health is bigger,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And you wanted to make sure that it just remains something big. It's a whole big spectrum of things. And every time we do another show, I'm just reminded on just how huge this journey is.
Yeah.
It is such a huge healing journey.
Yes, it is. And it's good. And I feel like that we're being divinely led and inspired with this,
Yes,
you know. So I'm curious to see where this is gonna go.
I know. Me
It's
too.
exciting.
It is very exciting.
Yeah. So we're gonna leave you guys here with this, and you're gonna have to check out the episodes with Paula because she's going to blow your mind. Seriously. And we talked for so long, I'm afraid it won't be one. It's probably gonna have to break that talk up into two, right?
Maybe three.
Yeah. 'Cause we talked, it was just we probably could have went another couple of hours. Seriously.
Yes. Yes.
And it's in yeah, like it's just
This
you
definitely has to be broken down into segments because it was just so inspiring.
mhm, yeah, very inspiring. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Don't My Black Health. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us. Look for us also on Instagram, because we really want, this is a healing journey, like we said, and we want you to come with us. So we'll see you on our next episode.
Yep. Stay tuned.